Okay, so we're all on the internet pretty much 24/7, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about who actually owns it? That's the massive question we're diving in today as we explore the huge promises and the big problems of something called Web3.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You create posts, you share photos, you build communities, you buy things, you pour your life into this digital space. But do you have any real ownership stake in it? That single question is the spark that lit the entire Web3 fire.
So to really wrap our heads around what Web3 is trying to do, we need to take a quick trip back in time. See, the internet wasn't built in a day. It's evolved through these distinct phases, and each one has totally reshaped how we interact with it.
Let's just break this down real quick. First up was Web 1. You can think of this as the read-only web. It was basically a giant online encyclopedia with static pages you could look at. Then, everything changed with Web 2, the read-write web. This is the internet we know now, Facebook, YouTube, all the social stuff, where we all became creators. And now, we're entering the era of Web 3, which wants to add one more crucial verb, own.
And this table, this really says it all. You can see the power shift right here. In Web 1, things were pretty decentralized. The value went to the people building and using stuff. Then Web 2 came along, and all that value got vacuumed up by just a few giant tech companies. The big idea behind Web 3 is to take the interactive, creative spirit of Web 2 and combine it with the decentralized ethos of Web 1. The goal? To put control and value back in the hands of the users and builders.
So, what's so wrong with the web we have today? I mean, it works, right? Well, the problem is kind of baked into the DNA of these huge centralized platforms. There's this predictable life cycle they all go through. You could almost call it a trap.
In the beginning, it's all about growth. A new platform will do anything and everything to get you on board. They need us, the users, the creators, the developers, to build out their network, and it feels great. It feels like a partnership, like we're all in it together, building something cool.
But then, they get huge. They reach the top of that mountain, and suddenly, the game changes. Their main goal is no longer to cooperate with you, is to extract value from you. The relationship flips from being a win-win for everyone to a zero-sum game, where for the platform to keep winning, somebody else has to start losing. And guess who that somebody else usually is? Yep, us.
This is the final part of the bait and switch. To please their shareholders and keep that growth chart pointing up, they start squeezing value from their users, mining our data, and often competing directly with the very partners and creators who helped them get big in the first place. This just kills innovation. I mean, why would you build your business on a platform that's designed to eventually turn against you?
And this is the exact problem that Web3 is supposed to solve. It's not just a small update. It's a proposal for a totally new foundation for the internet, one built on the idea that the people who create the value should own a piece of the network.
The magic word here, the core concept, is decentralization. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Instead of all the power and data being locked up inside one company's servers, like Google or Meta, it's distributed across a global network of computers. No single person or company is in charge. That changes everything.
So what does this actually mean for you? Well, the promises are huge. It means you own and control your data. It means you can send money or make agreements directly with someone else, without a bank or a big platform taking a huge cut. It means the network is harder for any single government or company to censor. And maybe most importantly, the value that's created is shared among the people who actually built it. It's an open system, available to anyone.
Okay, that is the big, exciting vision. It sounds amazing, right? But how in the world does it actually work? Let's pop the hood and look at the tech that makes all this possible.
It really comes down to three main layers. The foundation of the whole thing is the blockchain. Just think of it as a secure, public database that no one person controls. On top of that, you have smart contracts. These are just bits of code that act like real-world contracts. They automatically run when certain conditions are met. And finally, you have tokens. These are the pieces that represent ownership, whether it's a cryptocurrency like Ethereum or a unique digital item like an NFT.
So what can you actually build with all this? Well, this is where it gets really fun. You could create a version of Uber where there's no central company taking a 30% cut, so drivers keep way more of the fare. You could track food from the farm to the grocery store to guarantee it's safe. The cool sword you win in a video game? You could actually own it and sell it for real money. You could even join something called a DAO, which is like a company or a club that's run entirely by its members who vote on every decision.
But we have to be honest here. It's not all smooth sailing. For every person who thinks web3 is the future, there's someone else who thinks it's all just a bunch of marketing hype. This is a fierce debate, and it's important to look at both sides.
On one side, you have the dreamers, the optimists. This quote captures their vision perfectly. A more democratic internet, owned by the people who use it, where tokens are used to make sure everyone is working toward the same goal.
But then you get a heavy hitter like Jack Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter, and he throws some serious cold water on that dream. He basically argues that Web3 isn't really decentralized at all. The power is just shifting from big tech companies to powerful venture capital firms that funded these new projects.
And Elon Musk kind of piles on, suggesting that for all the talk, Web3 is more of a buzzword right now than something real you can actually use. It's a pretty big reality check, and it reminds us that we are in the very early innings of this game.
And you know what? The skeptics have some very valid points. There are massive roadblocks here. A lot of blockchains are still way too slow and expensive for mainstream use. The user experience can be, well, a total nightmare if you're not a tech expert. And ironically, a lot of these decentralized apps are still running on centralized servers from Amazon. Throw in regulatory uncertainty and environmental issues, and you've got a long, tough road ahead.
So let's just boil it all down one last time to its simplest form. On the web today, Web2, you read and you write. You create the content, you create the value. But the big platforms own your data and they capture almost all of that value. The promise of Web3 is to add that third, game-changing pillar, own. You create, you own, and you share in the value you help create. That one word is the revolution in a nutshell.
Which brings us right back to the trillion-dollar question. Is this a genuine revolution that can actually shift power back to individuals, or is it just a new coat of paint on the same old system, creating a new playground for venture capitalists and insiders? Honestly, nobody knows the answer yet. The future of the internet is being fought over right now. So the real question is, what do you think?